Welcome to Deep Thought, the importance of dreams. Yeah, I've done several podcasts where I've talked about the subconscious and how everything goes into it. But what people don't realize is the subconscious always communicates with the conscious. It always gives a feedback, and it does that through dreams. Now, we always talk about dreams, prophetic dreams, dreams that just seem discombobulated, nightmares, of course. Now, at a basic level, there's two levels with dreams, right? Because on a higher level, what you think of as a dream could just be you astral traveling or something. You leaving your body and you interacting with other spirits and stuff like that. But that's on a deeper level and deserves its own podcast. But just on a basic level, dreams are something accessible to most of us. And it's really, even though some people see them as, maybe, if they have dreams that come true or something like that or seem prophetic, actually it's not that deep. That's why, like, dreams or people claiming to have some special ability because their dreams come true, it's really more of a science. Now, check it out. See, what dreams do, of course, it's the subconscious. It's communicating with people, right? It's communicating with you. It's several things. One is a feedback. Like, say you embarking on a program of weight loss, right? You improve. And now with the dream, you might have a dream and it shows like 3 different versions of you. It might show one version of you at your current weight that you're trying to lose, one at your ideal weight, and then one even bigger. Your reaction to the dream, like, say you see the one where you're smaller and you like it. Your subconscious, through that dream, your subconscious records that and says, oh, okay, they're going to like doing this. Okay, we're going to go forward. All right. But say your subconscious, or let's say you, in the dream, you have a negative reaction to that ideal version for whatever reason. And there's a lot of people who will hold on to weight or something for whatever reason. It can be very complicated. Which is why a lot of people, they'll do stuff and, they can't see a weight loss or they can't get rid of a bad habit. There's something in them that's holding on to it, right? The subconscious, though, in that case might say, okay, this person don't really want to lose the weight. All right, we'll make sure they fail at it. Because always remember something with the subconscious. It has all this information, but ultimately it serves your interests. Or at least you want to get to the point where it serves your interest, right? But anyway, right, dreams. It gives you feedback. It tells you what's coming. It tells you what's coming. Now, let me break that down, especially prophetic dreams. Because a lot of people will have those and they'll think, oh, I have this gift. And it's actually a normal thing. Because remember, the subconscious takes in all information. It takes in everything. Sights, sounds, everything you encounter, it takes in. Often below your level of awareness. It takes in everything and it's calculating. Now, one of the intelligent things about the subconscious is it will say, oh, okay, based on all this information I have, I see this coming. It's the same thing with a car mechanic or a very good doctor. Like, a doctor can look at some symptoms in you and say, well, based on your high blood pressure, based on your level of weight, this is what's coming. They making and all they doing, they not prophesizing the future. They just looking at what it is now within you and saying this can happen. And it's, part of it is based on their own experience and knowing what this leads to. It's like a good mechanic. A good mechanic can look at any car and tell you how long you're going to last on. Like, a common thing, like a good mechanic will look at some tires and say, okay, they're getting bald here. There's a good chance you will have a flat in this amount of time. Or they'll look at something in your engine and say, hey, if you don't fix this in about 6 months, you'll be back here with the worst problem. That's all the dreams do. That's all the prophecies there. Like the subconscious is seeing something and saying, hey, if you don't deal with this, it's going to be a problem. Now, understand something about dreams. And to this end, people who really want to get a handle on their dreams, if they can't automatically remember something, have like a little journal and write about what they've dreamed about. Even if you don't have like a journal or something like that, you don't want to keep one. One thing I would suggest is write down the dreams that are most significant if you can't automatically remember them, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Like over the years, I've always had a dream when I'm in a particular house, right? I'm in a particular house, and then there's always parts of this house I don't go to visit, even though I'm living in the house, Like it's always like a part of it, even though I would reside in a part of it. But then if I go upstairs in the house or something, it's a totally different part, right? Like I had one dream, like one time with a house dream. It was like it was in a house, and interestingly, there was a part of the house I would go into. I would go into the basement, and it had all these books there. But these books all belonged to this white man, right? And for a long time, I couldn't figure out the dream. Then I realized it was like, no, all those books represents books I've read over the years and the knowledge which I was using, and even where I got the knowledge from. Now, the thing with these dreams, well, let me get for the house dreams. I remember I had something happened a few years ago where I had a significant change in direction or developed a new perspective. Now, I'd always had those house dreams with more or less the same theme, but I had a dream where that house burned down, and there was nothing there but green grass, and there was some stuff growing. Stuff growing, and the house was being built again. So it was just like, oh, okay, in this particular time, I had a major thing happen. So it's like a major change in direction. And actually that change in direction kind of led to everything I'm doing now. So it's like, boom, okay, it was giving me a message. Now, I mentioned in a previous podcast where I had something significant happen on Christmas Day. Like I called it the best present I've ever received, because it changed my perspective and it helped heal something I had been dealing with, a psychological thing I've been dealing with since I was like very young. And I think it was a matter of forgiveness. It dealt with forgiveness. I'll leave it at that, right? Now that I think about it some more, right? Now, that night, I had an interesting dream. Like I had in the house, and then I went upstairs, and there was a part of the house I hadn't been to, but it was empty. And my first thought was, hey, I can have a party up here, right? Then, now this gets interesting. Trust me, the next part, I want to see how this plays out. I went to another part. I went upstairs further, and it was like one of those harem scenes from like those movies where you have some sultan and he just got a harem of beautiful women. And I was like, oh, okay. But then when I turned around, tried to go back downstairs, the door was locked. And I was like, oh yeah, baby, I got something coming. But it was interesting. But actually, I know the deeper meaning of that. I actually know the deeper meaning, and it doesn't have anything to do with womanizing and anything. But it has something to do with the house of the man, which I've talked about. I've talked about the house of the man on my main channel. So I'm like, okay, something is about to... a pillar of the house of the man is either being reactivated or activated. I'm not sure. Or there'll be more attention paid to it. Anyway, so it's actually a good thing, because it's I believe it's the house of the part of the house of the man, the healer faculty rather. And the healer faculty in a man deals primarily with healing women. So any women is like, oh, okay. So, but it's all connected to, that present I received. So, but my dream, that was a feedback from the dreams. One thing about dreams to understand, the dreams do not communicate in most cases in a literal language. You're not going to have too many conversations in most cases, like where somebody's talking literally to you. Usually, or even if you see someone in a dream that look like somebody in most cases, there's some exceptions, but like I said, that's another video. Most cases, this person is not the actual person, but represents something. For example, say you have a dream and you have a real stingy uncle, right? Like he doesn't share or anything, and then that stingy uncle might represent maybe some job or something that doesn't want to give anything to you, or somebody's not going to share something with you, or you can have a job with a dream with a really seductive man or woman in it, whatever you are, right? That might not represent the literal person, but it might represent some hidden desire that you have. Wet dreams kind of fall in that category. If you have a desire for something, and it could be the literal person, like in those rare instances, but a lot of times it just represents something. Like I had a dream last night, night before I made this podcast, and it gave me a real perspective on something. I was dealing with a certain group of women, right? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting it, right? So it's you want to pay attention to them, because they can tell you stuff. They can give you, a dream can give you an insight into somebody's character, because I've had dreams that would do that. But see, your subconscious, like I say, your subconscious see everything and can make an evaluation. It's like you could see something, and sometimes I would tell people some stuff from a dream that involved them. Like I told a mate one time, I had a dream about her dealing with some other dude, and I mentioned a dream to her, and she was stammering and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I get you. But see, that's because subconsciously, or even a little consciously, I had been seeing something, but hadn't quite articulated it yet. Because sometimes you see something and don't think about it right away, but then you have a dream about it, and that tells you everything. That's that vision thing. So dreams are very powerful, and the thing is, like I said, most people, I do know of one individual who say they don't dream, so which is interesting, but dreams are powerful. It's a feedback loop, and see, they don't communicate. As I say, they don't communicate straightforward, but they communicate more in a right brain way. So they're going to use symbols. So, and it could take a while. Like start with a dream notebook or something like that. Write down your dreams. Develop a language of communication. Like if you see this in a dream, you know what it means. Like I know anytime I have a dream about a house, I know that's really aspects of myself. And also, too, another common thing could be a car. Like when I'm driving a certain type of car, I know there's some physical issue I need to deal with. Like a car represents a vehicle. And for the human, their vehicle is their body. So, it might be slightly different for you. Depends on how you look at a car. Like if you're someone who don't drive a car or anything, it might be something else. But it represents the vehicle and needs to be taken care of. I remember one time when I wasn't keeping in as good as health. Because like I said, it went through some bad periods and stuff. I remember I would always have the car dream, but then the car dream, I'm on a 10 speed. So I was like, oh, okay, I got to change some health things right now. So you got to figure out what it's saying. Like I said, it takes a little while, and then sometimes you might have that. Now, it's interesting that, I've known of people in the past, back when they used to play numbers and stuff, people could actually dream numbers. You got to remember that's how powerful the subconscious is. They can come up with probabilities and everything. So it's like that's a feedback thing whenever you dream. It tells you a lot. It shows you a lot. It can also let you know about any fears that you have. If you keep having a dream about something, you might be able to take action about it. And you might be able to address it. But it's tough because it's like I say, it's one of those things you have to work with. Now I'm gonna give you a personal example because I've mentioned before. I had a day job. I had the business and stuff, but I wasn't making. You still had to eat and everything, so you still needed a day job, right? I remember I had a dream. Right, I had a dream. I have a dream. No, I had a dream. Right, it was. I was trying to fly. Right? I was trying to fly, but every time I would fly up and then get pulled back down to earth. Fly up a little bit, then get pulled back down to earth. Then at one point, I just jumped up and flew and just kind of burst through. All of a sudden, I'm in space and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that Superman wave from, the 1978 movie, like, dun, 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 right? I'm doing all that. Now, I had a gifted dream interpreter interpret that. And what she said was, what it meant was, and she knew I was on this day job. She said, you ain't going to really fly until you leave the day job. And like I said, at the time, I made money from business, but not enough to keep food on the table. Like if I ain't care about eating and stuff like that, now I could definitely pay bills with it. And even when I had finally rolled out, it was still like, okay, this is going to be tight. When I rolled out, things just exploded. And that's what she told me. She said, look, you ain't going to really, until you just make that leap, you're going to be pulled back. You're not going to fully fly. And that's exactly what happened. So dreams, very important. Pay attention to them. Like I said, I know some people think they have some prophetic dreams. All of a sudden, they sometimes they use it as a status thing. Yes, I'm powerful. No, everybody got that gift. If you got a dream, if you can dream, it's really a normal thing. It shouldn't even be called a gift. Really, it's a normal thing for every single person. So it's something you always pay attention to. You always pay attention, listen to the messages because your subconscious is seeing everything and it's like, oh, this could be a problem. And it can even see behind people's mask if you pay attention. So anyway, right? That's it for today. Keep rising and transforming. Peace.